Leprechaun 4 is a 1997 horror comedy science fiction film directed by Brian Trenchard-Smith, and it is the fourth installment in the Leprechaun series. Ladies and gentlemen, here we are, Leprechaun 4 in Space, 1997. I really, truly did not like this movie. If I skip over any parts, that's because it was just that boring and I just couldn't get into it. From what I can recall, it opens up with this group of soldiers and they're on a spaceship and they're on some kind of planet called Ithacon, which is obviously a fictional planet, and it's the same old thing as before. Although I can't really say that because it is slightly different. In this movie, instead of just having gold, he has jewels to go along with it. How he got into the future, nobody knows. Last time I checked, he was set on fire at the end of part 3. So I don't understand how he magically appeared in space. And if you don't understand how that happened, don't feel bad. You're not by yourself because nobody knows. Nobody knows how it happened. In this movie, he kidnaps this princess. Her name was Princess Zarina, and she was played by Rebecca Carlton. The movie is basically about her, and these group of soldiers have to protect her from the leprechaun because he's trying to kill her. He kidnaps her, and he promises her all these riches. He's like, if you come with me, I'll make you rich. He's like, I know your father was a king, but he didn't have anything. He didn't have a penny to his name. And Zarina's like, I don't want to go with you. He tempts her with all this gold and stuff. Once he shows her the gold, she agrees to go with him. When they go somewhere together, I don't know exactly where they went, but they went somewhere, and this guy, this soldier, sneaks up to the table where they put all the gold, and he tries to steal it. And when he's doing that, the leprechaun comes up behind him and kills him with a lightsaber. And then the soldiers catch up with the leprechaun, and they throw a grenade at him. And he wants to protect the princess, so he tells her, he says, get down. And he jumps over there and he dives on the grenade. And everyone thinks he's dead, but he's not. Here's the thing I don't get. In all the other movies that he was in, if he blew up, that would be the end of him. What's the case in this movie? Every time they try to blow him up, he comes back. And what I don't get about the Leprechaun franchise is, what's this obsession they have with blowing him up? In every movie he's been blown up, with the exception of the first one. In 2, 3, and 4, he's been blown up. I don't get that. Don't they have any other ways to kill him? Makes no sense to me. I just don't get that. The way they blow him up is the same way that Rick Rosenthal kept setting Michael Myers on fire. They all go back to their room or whatever on the spaceship, and they devise a way to try to kill the leprechaun. My favorite character in this movie besides the leprechaun would probably be Sergeant Metalhead Hooker. He was played by Tim Colsery. He was pretty funny. But then we found out that he was gay and he was a cyborg. So I was like, okay, a gay robot, really? These Leprechaun movies, as they go on, they're like the Stephen King movies. They get weirder and weirder. You also have Styx, played by Miguel Nunez Jr. You have Dr. Tina Reeves, played by Jessica Collins. And you have Private Dolores Costello, played by Debbie Dunning. She's from Home Improvement. There is also a scene in this movie where the leprechaun takes some kind of syringe and he fills it with spider DNA and he injects it into some guy and turns it into a giant spider. If this is a horrible review, I apologize. I just don't know what to say about this one because this installment was really far out there. I mean, he's turning people into spiders, killing people with lightsabers. What's going on with this? There's also one scene where this guy is making out with Debbie Dunning, or should I say Private Dolores Costello, and the leprechaun comes right through his genitals. And I don't care what anybody says, that's gross. He literally came through the guy's genitals. It hurt me just to look at it. The leprechaun is basically arguing with the girl that he kidnapped, this princess Zarina or whatever her name is. He's arguing with her. He pretends that he loves her, but he secretly wants her dead, and she secretly wants him dead, and they're all trying to get off the ship and get away from the leprechaun. This is basically like Jason X, but this movie came out before Jason X came out, so I can't really use that as an analogy. There's also a scene where the leprechaun turns into a giant leprechaun and tries to step on the people, but to no avail. He kills Debbie Dunning's character by pushing her off of balcony type thing, and she dies that way from falling off of the balcony thing. I don't know what you call it. It's some kind of thing on the spaceship, and it sits up really high. That's all I know. There's only 3 people left because the leprechaun killed all the other ones. There's Dr. Tina Reeves, played by Jessica Collins. There's Styx, played by Miguel Nunez. And there's Sergeant Books Malloy, played by Brent Jasmer. I'm happy the black guy lived, so that was a switch. That normally doesn't happen in horror movies. Of course, you know how this movie ended. The leprechaun got sucked into this space thing and they blew him up again. I'm glad I'm on part 5 now because he didn't get blown up in part 5. I'm so sick of seeing the leprechaun get blown up. It's really annoying. What did they keep blowing him up for? They can't be any more creative than that? Seriously, he died. I don't want to talk about this movie anymore. They blew the leprechaun up again, but this time, when they're looking out the window, his giant hand makes a middle finger shape, and the movie goes off. Leprechaun 4 in Space, released February 25th, 1997. I'm the Michael Myers fanatic. I don't approve this message. I had to do it, so I did it. I'm out. Leprechaun 4 in Space. Stay tuned for Leprechaun 5 in the Hood.